Hi, Sheenay, and welcome to Unae's Garden. This is the name of my channel. And I hope anyone who is watching and listening that you are inspired and motivated to be empowered to explore your own curiosities and your own questions, and being able to really explore other people's questions and their opinions and topics. And that's how we're able to really grow as humanity and be able to appreciate one another and our perspectives. Nothing really honestly is absolute truth or absolutely wrong when it comes to the human experience. And that's something that I think we all as human beings struggle with. And so I really do encourage you to definitely, if not first before anything else, be empowered to explore your own curiosities and wherever that leads you to, whatever path that leads you to, and also to be open minded to other people's beliefs. That does not mean you have to receive them as your own, but it's okay to respect and have the understanding of someone else's beliefs. And so I hope this helps encourage that. And so in my last video, I did mention that I would talk about in this video that I do believe that God is also a woman. And so I believe that God is also a woman and also a man. How is that, right? And so it's actually, when you look at it, if you look in depth in Genesis 1, I mentioned in a previous video, when it comes to the Bible is not really meant to be read as literal. And I am not a, defined pastor of any sort. And, I believe that God has given me the spirit and the authority, though I wanted, whether I wanted to embrace it or not, to talk about these things, just as many other people do who have a passion for it. But I truly, truly, if you are a pastor or went to school for, pastoring, we all have learned and know that the Bible is very, very unique, and it's definitely not meant to be taken literal to much of a degree. A lot of it is very metaphorical, and is meant for you to really look beyond what the words are saying to really have a deeper meaning in how it relates to you and your own perspective. And so that's what's so magical and amazing about the Bible and many other ancient texts that talks about philosophy and way of living and the truth and the life, truth and light. And so when you look into Genesis 1, that's what I do. I typically tend to read the word bit by bit and try to ask questions and get deeper meanings and insights of it and what that might mean to me and its symbolism. And so when you look into the first few sentences, few sentences of Genesis, it mentions that the Spirit of God actually roamed upon the waters, and it was complete darkness. So if you really think about it, how amazing is it to know that there was literally chaos of water, an unformed earth. It was just a thought. It was just a thought to God. It was not formed yet in physical reality, but there were properties around that could help God manifest the earth as a physical form. And that was darkness and it was water. And that was it. And it was only darkness and water that were in existence with God before even light came into being. So that is very, very amazing, very, very interesting to kind of grasp and take in when I read that. And why I believe that God is also a woman is because darkness and water are feminine properties. They are feminine energies. Now, energies have personalities, and I will talk a lot about this more in depth in future videos. But when you think about anyone who's been in school for science, we learn about, the element table, the periodic table, and the elements, and how there's certain chemical reactions that take place with certain elements and things like that. Whether it's, they explode or they're more water solvent. Every property has its own type of personality. And that's the same thing when it comes to energy, when it comes to masculine energy and feminine energy. Now, masculine energy is something that is more of a reactor. It acts, which makes sense as, men have that more dominant masculine energy to a certain degree. That's where they get that. And when it comes to feminine energy, we are a lot more receptive, mysterious, and I say we because I'm a woman, so I tend to have more that feminine energy within me. But we're more receptive, mysterious. We're very organized. We're very complex, and can be very chaotic, and that's where that comes from. At the same time, we can also be able to be very still, and we tend to be able to go with the flow more, very intuitive. And so that's why we tend to see those very similarities when it comes to just how women behave and how we are. Now, the kicker to it all is, which took me a while to really understand and learn, is just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I only carry a feminine energy. I also have a masculine energy. Just like other women have a masculine energy as well. And men have both a masculine energy and a feminine energy. And there are some men out there that's like, I don't have nothing feminine in me at all. It's just not the case. You do really want to admit it, whether you want to admit it or not. But the key to it all, which is a little off topic, but it's very important to say, is throughout our life journey, our goal really to be able to have a fulfilling life, continuously throughout life and achieve that, is to find a way to balance out our masculine energy and our feminine energy. That does not mean that both are going to be at an equal state, right? Because some of us who are a woman, when it comes to how we look sex wise, like we have a feminine sexual organ, that means that we tend to carry more of a feminine energy, and that's okay. But we also carry a masculine energy, and some of us have more of that than others, and that's okay. But when I mention about us having to have that balance, is how do you react and think and go about your day when it comes to making choices and living your life in certain situations? Are you able to identify when it's okay to act and use that masculine energy to just act and be bold about certain choices? Or are you able to withhold yourself and be reserved and be able to know when to be still? And that's what I mean when it comes to balancing out their energy. And that's going to be a long life challenge for all of us. And that's the fun part about living this life, learning ourselves, learning that equilibrium balance. And so I mentioned that because that's why I mentioned about with God. God is energy. And I'm gonna go into a lot more detail about that in a future video, actually the next video. But God also is energy, just like we are energy. And God also has both feminine energy and masculine energy. And that's what I mean when I say God is also a woman. And so we tend to look at women, when I say that, as a physically like a woman because we're so used to that. We've been programmed that way. However, when it comes to feminine energy and masculine energy and how it relates to how we look sexually, the only time that really matters is when we have to identify ourselves from a sexual way when it comes to procreating, not expressing ourselves sexually, but when it comes to the purpose of procreating. And so that also goes into my belief when it comes to, I believe that God loves and embraces gays just as much as he embraces those who are not. The LGBT community and those who I'm leaving out, I apologize. I'm having to still learn. However, I do believe that we are all loved in the eyes of God. And I am saying that as a Christian, yes. And I think about it because, again, I look at the Bible and I think about the stories of Jesus and how he acts. And I want to look more in depth about not as far as him being a personal savior, but more of looking at the stories and the characters and what's happening in the stories and what's being done. That's what I thrive off of. That is what I believe the true gold is within the Bible, is what to take upon is what's happening in these stories, not necessarily who it is and what's being done about that. But when you look at the Bible and about Jesus, and that is a part where he mentions, the first who has no sin cast the first stone. And when you think about it, there is no one on this earth, no one on this earth that can say that they have been without sin or have felt convicted by their own spirit about something that is not right within themselves, that is against them as a soul being. That to me is what a sin is. And that's something that's very personal between that person and God. Whatever the case is, no matter what religion you come from, there is no one here on this earth that is perfect. No one. And I believe, who are we? Like, who are we to really tell someone how they express themselves and how they express their love for someone is right or wrong? I mean, for a long time, I struggled with that because I know what I've been taught in a religious church, but I can't at the same time disregard my heart and what I believe God has also shown me through God's love and how the stories of Jesus have really impacted me as well. And that's the truth. And everyone has their own opinion, and I'm not trying to say that, my way is the one way that's true, because again, I'm not the person that has all the answers at all. I'm just going by my own common sense and what's in my heart, what I've read in the word, and what makes sense. Now, when it comes to a male and a woman being together, yes, that makes sense naturally how God created human beings. It would take a man and woman, in essence, to be able to procreate. And so, because of that, I struggled with, for a long time, accepting that being gay is okay in the eyes of God. And for a long time, I struggled with that because I had someone that mentioned to me and said, well, naturally, anything that is not meant to take place naturally is not right in the eyes of God. And they mentioned about being gay, and for a long time, I really believed that. I said, you know what, they have a point. Naturally, that doesn't take place. But then I think about it. I thought about it for a long time, and I say, well, the purpose of life is not solely just to procreate. And the interesting thing about it is the demand and the importance and the value of procreation comes from a very more patriarchal perspective. And patriarchal, which we'll go into in detail again in another video, but patriarchal is pretty much where life and religion and practice and morals, all that is pretty much geared from a male perspective. Before patriarchal societies existed, which is also how in the Christianity, how it is now, is very patriarchal type of religion and belief system. Before then, it was matriarchal. It was where women, we were more empowered. We were the ones that kind of took that step to um, initiate everything, and we were more, pretty much, we were seen more and worship more than men in the aspect, in a way. But we'll go in more detail about that. But that's kind of where that thought came from when it comes to procreation, the purpose of that, which makes sense. It's coming from a male perspective. But in reality, going back to God being a woman first, because before there was light, which light is a masculine energy, there was only darkness and water, and both are feminine energies. So I believe God was woman first. It's in the Bible. But before all it took place, I think about it and I say, well, procreation is not the sole purpose of life. God didn't create human beings just for the sake of procreation. Not God. Now, there might be some people doing some genetic stuff going on to us, and that's a whole nother story. But that's not God. That's not the true essence of God. The true essence of God is love. And that is the sole purpose of life, is to understand love and experience love and share love and give love and receive love. And however someone expresses that is that own person's in their relationship with God. That's their life. That's their expression. And that could be someone who might look like a sex male, but have a more feminine energy, and vice versa. And that's okay. That's okay. We're just so accustomed to what someone looks like. Again, all these things that separate us and makes us different. We look at that and we allow that to really stop us from doing the essence of what we're supposed to be doing here in the first place. And that's just love. That's just love, y'all. That's just love. And for so long it drove me crazy. And that's for so long, that's what actually propelled me to just leave Christianity alone, period. I went to a whole other religion because it just seemed so hypocritical. And as I explored other topics and explored other spiritual practices and left religion alone completely and just went off of solely my heart and relationship with God and where God led me, it brought me back to Christianity, because I do feel like not just myself, but a lot of us have these beliefs, and some of us are just afraid to share it and express it because of just the system of Christianity. But I want people to know, those who are Christian, those who are not, you are truly loved. God is love. That's all we're here to do. When it comes to different sins and sanctions, who are we really? How self-absorbent are we as Christians or anyone else who even is not, but has the audacity to tell someone how they're living their life is wrong without even trying to even understand their life or spend time with them to get to know them and have an understanding? How dare we as people? And that's kind of my conviction. I felt convicted for not actually embracing the gay community because of my religion, because of how I was taught. And I just want people to know who's watching this right now. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to believe at all. I'm doing this because I feel compelled to do it, whether I want to or not. I have to. And I hope this does find someone who is seeking this type of information and message. I want you to know that God loves you no matter where you are in life, no matter who you love, how you express yourself. You are a spiritual being who is loved. You are a true direct extension of God and God in itself. And that's what's beautiful. So you live your life, you continue to follow your path, and you continue to show love, receive love, and give love. I hope this finds someone well, and I'm pretty sure I also made some people irate, and that's okay. That's going to happen. I am definitely okay being the topic of controversy, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But it's just the truth, y'all. It's just time to be okay to say, you know what, we were wrong. It's okay. It's okay. As we speak, this world is crumbling, and it's crumbling for a good reason. It's crumbling. There are systems that are being destroyed. There are people in these high places who are now losing their authority because it's time for something new. And God will never cause anyone pain or any of us pain without creating something new. It is a new age. It is time for us to be able to love one another, have community and compassion, enlightenment. Nothing new under the sun. This has happened before. We went through a Black Plague, and after that, we went through the Renaissance era, where there was again this whole new era of enlightenment and new inventions and appreciation of art and all these things and love. It was great, and we're going through that process again, but we're having to go through some things like wildfires and COVID and things to help cleanse the earth to get ready and prepare for the new era of earth. And I say that with a heavy heart for anyone who has lost anyone throughout these natural disasters. And I truly, truly want to say that my heart is with you. And unfortunately, that's something that comes with life, and it comes with just being here in this world and going through loss and suffering and pain. But I do pray for you, anyone who's lost anyone, who are struggling or who is sick right now. Have hope. Have hope. Peace is coming. I'm signing out until next time. Next topic, I'll be talking about sin and the truth about sin. That's going to be very interesting, so stay tuned. Feel free if you need to contact me about any questions or comments or things that you'd like me to talk about or discuss. Facebook, you message me. Instagram, I'm here for it. Peace, love, and blessings.